When Jagex announced they would be removing the sap-treated logs as a one-click tick manipulation item, I saw a lot of players asking the same question. If it makes tick manipulation easier, why remove it? And honestly, I think removing it was the right decision. Now, this isn't because I'm against more people learning tick manipulation, quite the opposite. I think it's one of the most interesting pieces of Old School RuneScape's skilling depth. It's a skill that rewards practice, rhythm, and precision with better experience rates, higher effort for higher reward. That's exactly the kind of design that Old School RuneScape has always been built around. My first concern is a relatively small one, but I still think it's worth mentioning. Items like the gnome cube or sap-treated log lower the effort required to perform some of the strongest skilling methods in the game. They remove friction from something that has always intentionally required more input than conventional training. I don't think every player should feel obligated to do tick manipulation, but I do think that if you want the rewards that come with it, the execution should still demand more effort than standard training. But that's actually not my biggest issue. My biggest issue has nothing to do with efficiency. It's what these items represent. The knife log manipulation, herb tower manipulation, none of these methods were intended by Jagex. Players found them. Years ago, high-level skillers experimented with RuneScape's strange server tick system and slowly figured out that certain item combinations could manipulate action timings in ways that were never intended. They were not following a tutorial, and they were not using an item that explicitly said, "Click me to start a tick cycle." They were discovering quirks in an old janky game engine and turning those quirks into mastery. To me, that's one of the most uniquely Old School RuneScape things imaginable. It's the same reason people love movement methods, save spots, strange boss strategies, and countless other pieces of emergent gameplay throughout the game's history that weren't handed to players by the developers, they were figured out by the community. That gives them character, and it gives them history, and it gives a certain authenticity that you can't recreate by simply designing an item whose purpose is to replicate the exact same thing. Once Jagex adds an item specifically meant to start a tick cycle with one click, the story changes. Tick manipulation stops feeling like this strange community-discovered interaction within the RuneScape game engine and starts feeling like another official gameplay mechanic. Instead of players manipulating the game is now telling players how to manipulate it. That might sound like a small distinction, but I don't think it is. Old School RuneScape has always been at its best when it embraces player discovery instead of replacing it. That's why I don't really mind new skilling methods being compatible with tick manipulation. If Jagex releases a new activity and the players figure out how to use the existing knife log methods to optimize it, I think that's fantastic. That way, the original discovery continues to evolve alongside new content, so the community is still applying knowledge the players uncovered years ago, and nothing about the history is lost. What I don't like is introducing entirely new items whose primary purpose is to replace those original methods, because now we're no longer preserving a piece of player-discovered knowledge, we're replacing it with a developer-approved shortcut. And I think that's a shame. Now, I know someone's going to bring up Celestra Spark, but I do think there is an important distinction. Celestra Spark is more of a stepping stone. It gives new players a simple way to understand the tick system without replacing the strongest, most established methods. Even if I don't love the idea of purpose-built tick manipulation items, it doesn't really threaten the identity of knife log as the gold standard. The sap-treated logs definitely would have. That's why I think Jagex made the right call by removing them. Now, if Jagex was ever dead set on adding something to the game to make tick manipulation easier, I think there is a much better way to do it. Do not create another magical inventory item whose only purpose is to start a tick cycle. Instead, build that interaction naturally into the skilling activity itself. If you're designing a brand new training method, have one of the actions within that activity naturally create a timing window. Maybe you're preparing materials, adjusting equipment, sharpening a tool, or performing some thematic action that fits the activity. If players can use that to chain into efficient gameplay, it feels more like part of the activity instead of a random object existing solely to imitate the knife log manipulation. Jim's Wet Cloth does this well. When clicked, your character performs a forehead wiping animation that acts as a single-click visual cue to help players learn 3-tick manipulation when mining Infernal Shale. This is a great example of if Jagex were to absolutely be convinced by the community to include one-click tick manipulation items, to me, how it should be implemented. But personally, I would like to see the tick manipulation meta stay exactly where it is. Let me know what you think.